Number 11. Coastal Taipan, or Oxyuranus scutulatus. Another Australian member of the 20 most venomous snakes list is a fellow elipid, the coastal taipan. While the potency of its venom does not rival the inland taipan, it is not significantly behind other venomous snakes in that regard. Beyond that, the coastal taipan can grow lengthy, sometimes reaching over 10 feet. They are also the leader in fang length of any other Australian snakes. Their bodily size, fang length, and aggressive nature make them more likely to bite, and therefore they are considered one of the most dangerous Australian snakes. The bites of the coastal taipan were nearly almost always fatal, with the numbers decreasing since the advent of the antivenom. As with most other venomous snakes, their poison impedes blood clotting, impairs muscles, and attacks the nervous system, perfect for taking down larger mammals. Number 12. The banded krait, Bungarus fuscatus. Krait snakes are some of the most venomous Asian snakes, but they are also among the world's most venomous. The venom of a blue krait is extremely toxic, and while the banded krait's toxicity isn't quite as potent, the neurotoxic properties decimate the nervous system of their victims. Their diets include mammals and reptiles, but they are primarily eaters of fellow snakes. That might be in part because their venom is particularly effective against them. In fact, they are cannibalistic in the sense that kraits will eat other species of krait. During the daylight hours, kraits are shy and rarely prone to bite attempts, but nighttime brings out a more aggressive side. Their appearance is quite impressive, as the snake is adorned with bands of yellow and black, and less frequency, white and black, with a very distinct stumpy tail. Number 13. The common death adder, Acanthopus antarcticus. The ironically named common death adder is not so common, as it is one of Australia's most unique snake breeds. It's short and stocky, like a viper, but since there are no vipers that live in Australia, they don't belong to that snake family. Their appearance typically has orange, bronze, or tan bars across their body. The death adder's hunting style is based on ambush, employing a tactic known as caudal luring, which includes them using their tails to mimic a worm or lure. Once unsuspecting prey, typically in the form of a frog, lizard, or small mammal, wanders by, the death adder executes something it does faster than almost any snake on the planet: strike, injecting its prey with a highly neurotoxic venom through its bite. But the value of the venom is important to the death adder, so they will often dry bite and hold the prey until it's ready for consumption. When venom is injected, they dispense a large amount of it. Unlike many other venomous snakes that live far from population centers, death adders live near areas populated by people and pets, making them more dangerous. Number 14. Beaked sea snake, Hydrophis schistosus. This list has yet to include any sea snakes, so at the 14th spot is the beaked sea snake, which is one of the world's most venomous sea snakes, issuing their highly potent hemotoxic and neurotoxic venom to their victims, inducing muscle damage and paralysis. These snakes account for the majority of sea snake bites in the world. Common victims include fishermen who are unlucky enough to find these snakes stuck in their fishing nets. In an attempt to untangle them, the fishermen often get bitten. The beaked sea snake is named such due to the presence of downward pointed scales on its snout's tip, making it look like a bird beak. Their appearance is similar to other sea snakes in that they have paddle-like, flattened tails that help them move through the waters of the ocean. Number 15. Black mamba, Dendroaspis polyespis. The black mamba's name doesn't actually describe the color of the snake's scales, but rather the interior of its mouth, which they open to express that they feel under threat. Their scales are actually solid brown. They're agile, alert, intelligent, and intensely temperamental, which, paired with their potent venom, earns them the title of Africa's most venomous snake. Their agility comes in very handy when it comes to hunting mammals and birds on their home terrain. The black mamba is an aggressive striker, delivering repeated bites and injecting major amounts of venom into its prey, causing systematic paralysis. A human bitten by one must receive anti-venom treatment as soon as possible. Luckily, black mambas don't show much of an interest in engaging or interacting much with humans. But if they feel threatened by one, they will not spare their vicious bite. Number 16. Chinese copperhead, Denagenstrodon acutus. The Chinese copperhead has been dubbed a 100 pacer due to the common belief that once bitten, a person is only 100 steps away from collapsing to their death. It isn't much of an exaggeration either. The Chinese copperhead's venom causes multiple systematic effects, including heart palpitations that become quickly prominent. The tissue around the bitten area also incurs damage and necrosis due to its venom's toxicity. This snake belongs to the pit viper family and is found mostly in particular Asian countries. They're a cousin of the American copperhead, though they are significantly more venomous, with venom that reaches a toxicity of 0.38 milligrams per kilogram to its American relatives' 2.711 milligrams per kilogram. When the Chinese copperheads bite people, it is imperative to administer antivenom within an hour of the bite, as the toxin is so pervasive that it ends up being lethal. Since antivenom is not readily available to everyone who might get bitten, the bites from this snake result in an unnerving number of fatalities. Number 17. South American bushmaster, Lachesis muta. The South American bushmaster belongs to the Lachesis genus and is distinctly noteworthy due to their long bodies, with adults reaching a potential of 12 feet in length. This not only classifies them as kings of their species, but it also designates them as the longest vipers in the Western world. Comparative to other snakes, the bushmaster's venom is not as toxic as other venomous snakes, but when they bite, they inject massive amounts of it into the unlucky recipient. The worst thing is, medical treatment only goes so far. The bites are 75% fatal, irrespective of the administration of antivenom or other medical treatment. Luckily, these snakes are rarely seen, so humans do not endure their venomous bites often. Really, the only people actively seeking them out are herpetologists eager to study the fascinating creatures. Number 18. Fer-de-lance, Bothrops asper. The fer-de-lance is a formidable predator and accounts for at least 90% of damaging snake bites in the region where it's found, which is mostly Central America and the northern parts of the South American continent. These pit vipers are armed with harmful venom that causes muscle damage, tissue necrosis, and systemic bleeding. These snakes mostly feed on rodents, against whom this venom is highly effective. Unfortunately, those humans unlucky enough to be bitten suffer similar effects. Fer-de-lance snakes are attracted to farmlands in search of food, so they come in contact with people quite often. Farmers, as well as other residents of these farmlands, fear them to an extreme degree. Depending on the region, people refer to these terrifying vipers by different names, most reflective of the snake's appearance. Some call it fer-de-lance or arrowhead. Some refer to it as the terciopelo or velvet, while others name it the barba amarilla or yellow throat. Not surprisingly, the snakes have arrow-shaped heads, yellow throats, and velvety skin. Number 19. Belcher's sea snake. While many refer to the sea snake of Belcher as the most venomous sea snake in existence, the truth is its insufficient LD50 toxicity doesn't rank them quite as high as some may believe. Having said that, they are still easily among some of the world's most venomous creatures. Many are deceived by their size since these snakes rarely exceed a length of 3 feet, but they more than make up for their smaller length with the toxicity of their venom, which is an effective source for them catching fish. Luckily, they don't pose a major threat to humans, and bites are pretty rare. This is because their mouths are small, so any body part that is larger than a finger would prove very problematic for them to chomp on. On top of that, they are not aggressive by nature. Their appearance is of a pretty pale bluish-gray coloring, separated by darker colored bands. Number 20. Blue Malayan coral snake. One of the most unique-looking snakes with a black body, red head and tail, and bright blue stripes is the Malayan blue coral. Of any snake on the planet, the blue Malayan coral snake has the largest venom gland, measuring a foot in length and equating to about a quarter of its body length. Their venom is a form of cardiotoxin, a toxic substance that affects a prey's sodium channels, causing every nerve to respond at once, simulating an essential full-body spasm. While that is quite intense, when one considers that some of their prey involves king cobras, it is understandable why they would need it. The more terrifying part is that there is no antivenom for these snake bites. Fortunately, their contact with humans is very minimal, with only 2 deaths in the last century being reported as attributed to a bite from the blue Malayan coral snake. While they are not this list's most dangerous snakes, they are arguably the most unique. So, which of the deadly snakes did you find more impressive or terrifying? Did you learn any surprising details about venomous snakes? Let us know.